Hi everyone, so now some of you will recognise this card. So this is the ultimate pillar card that I saw from Mitosu Crafts on YouTube. I'll put a link down below for their video if I can. But yeah, they did a really nice card and I really loved it, and I actually made this one in the live stream. So this was the one I made in the live stream. And it folds down flat. You just squish it off to one side, and this one, this particular size that they did, it will fit in like an A5 envelope. Got space on the back to write. I've actually added this additional panel on the back and made it all line up at the back, so then it's just a bit more solid. So if you want to see the video for this one, check out my live section. So when you go onto my channel, you've got videos, playlists, and then there's also a section called live. If you click on that, it will take you through to all my live streams, and I did this in a live stream. This was my sample card, and this was the one I did according to how they had done it without the backboard. But I found it's a little bit free to do what it wants to do, so that's why this is one I did in a craft class. That's why I added that on the back, because then it's literally everything's together. It has no choice to wobble around. It's much more solid. But this, I used a bit too thick a card for this one, so this was a bit chunky. But yeah, but I just suddenly thought then that I need to do a 5x7 version, because this is a bit big for me. So that's what we're doing today. So let me move these out of the way. Or before I move them out of the way, let me quickly take you through all of these sentiments are from In Love Arts. So if you want to go over there, these are still available. I'll link them down in the description below. Make sure to use my code ICEDImages, because it gives you 20% off your order, but it also really helps out the channel. These papers here are from my Cozy Crochet set, which is on my Etsy shop. So again, links will be downstairs will be down in the description. And then this paper pack was my game nights paper pack. Again, listing will be down in the description, all the links and everything. So that is that. And then today we are going to be making a 5x7 version. So this is the 5x7 version, and this folds down flat like that again, and it will fit in an envelope for a 5x7 card. So the papers that I've used on this are also from In Love Arts, and it's a pearl embroidery, I think the paper pack is called. And again, I've used the same sentiment die again, because it's just so wonderful. I love this sentiment die. That set is wonderful. And again, you've got space on the back to write. It's nice and stable, nice and solid. So yeah, so that's what we're going to do. So let's get into it. Okay, so for the 5x7 version of the Ultimate Pillar card, you're going to need one piece that is 5x7.5, and this is base card. And on this, you're going to score it at 1 3/4, at 3.5, 5 1/4, and at 7. Okay, so that's your largest piece done. You're also going to need 2 pieces that are 5x5.5, and on these you're going to score them at 1 1/4, 2.5, 3 3/4, and 5. And you're going to do that on the other piece as well. I accidentally put an extra score line in when I didn't need it, so ignore that. I'm going to be covering it up anyway, so it doesn't matter. And then you also need 2 pieces that are 3 inches by 3.5, and on these you're going to score them at 3/4, at 1.5, 2 1/4, and at 3 inches. So I'm going to repeat that on this other one. Right, so I'm going to go ahead now and just fold and burnish all of my score lines. Okay, so on the tab of all of your pieces, you're going to add some red tape, and then we're going to stick them into pillars. So the best way to do this is to do it flat, and to do it the way you want it to fold in the envelope. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn this over and then stick that down like that. I think that it will probably end up, yeah, it will go in like that. So I'm just going to go ahead now and stick these all down. So you should end up with one big one, 2 kind of like slightly narrower ones, and then 2 really small ones. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to get a piece of card. Now this is something I did with the other one that I did for my live stream. So I've got a piece of base card that is 3 inches by 5 3/4, and on that I've put a piece of white that is 2 3/4 by 5 1/2. So that's going to be where you write your message. But what we're going to do with this is we're actually going to use this to stick on the back. So then we can stick our pillars to this piece, and then it means you haven't got the back, you know, it makes it more stable basically. It's not as wobbly. So what we're going to do is take this middle one, which is the widest. So obviously it's the same height as the others, but you can see it's wider. And then we're going to draw on here. Just going to make some marks so we can find out where halfway is. So down the sides, because this measures 3 inches. And this whole thing measures 5, so that means we need to come an inch in from the top and an inch in from the bottom. So I'm just going to make a little mark here and a little mark here, and the same on this edge here. And the reason I'm doing that is because then that shows me where I can line up my card. So that's like that. And then to make sure it's completely central, we're going to have a look on here, and this measures 1 3/4 wide, this piece here that we've done the marks on. So we're going to make a little mark at 7/8, because that's halfway, and we're also going to do the same at the bottom. And I'm going to make sure that my little mark is just below the pencil lines and just above the pencil lines, because in a minute this is going to go on here, and you want this little mark to line up with our halfway on this one. So this measures 5 3/4. So we want to mark halfway at 2 7/8, and you're going to do the same at the bottom here at 2 7/8. Just a little pencil mark. You might want to rub this out later. And then we're going to bring this back in, and I'm going to use wet glue. You can use red tape if you want to, but I find that wet glue is better because you've got more time to, like, wiggle room time. And I'm just going to glue in between where we did those pencil marks, because that is where we are going to stick the card. And then what we're going to do is take our piece of card. I'm just going to lie this down flat, which does throw your head off as to what, you know, what looks central and what doesn't. But that's why you have the registration mark. So now you can line this up so at the top of your card lines up with your little marks that you did, and then your halfway registration marks should line up with the halfway registration marks. And then when you do that, you should end up with this, and it should be central. If you want to check it, you can. So that's like almost 2 inches, and that's 2 inches, so that's fine. So the gap either side is fine. So once you've done that, you then want to turn it over, and then we can begin sticking our pillars together. Now if you want to, you can decorate your pillars first. I think I might do that actually, because it is easier to decorate them first, especially the little pillars. So I'm just going to leave that to dry for a second and bring these two in. Now my whole thing is going to collapse off to the left. So for that reason, I'm going to make sure these both collapse to the left. And then I'm going to take my little pieces here, and these are going to go one on there and one on there. So these pattern pieces, I have decided not to bother with the mat this time, because otherwise this is going to be ridiculously small. So your pattern pieces here, you've got 2 pieces that are 5/8 by 2 7/8. So I'm going to go ahead and stick these down. Okay, so there are those 2 pieces there. Now these 2 outside pieces, you need 2 pieces of pattern paper that are 1 inch by 4 3/4. So they're going to go on there and on there. And again, I haven't bothered with mats just because it's just not going to happen. So I'm going to go ahead now and stick these down. And then last but not least, you've got the centerpiece, and this is one piece that is 1 1/2 by 4 3/4. So that's going to go in the center there. Okay, so we've done all of our pillars now, decorated them all, so we're going to stick them on now. So I'm going to start with this small one here, which goes on the right hand side. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn this over and put you can put tape, or I'm going to use wet glue because it's easier. Wet glue here and here, so that's going to stick on there. And you just need to make sure that your pillars all are folding off the same way. If you find it easier to put a little cross on your side so you know which side you're gluing, then you can go ahead and do that. It does make things easier if you're not, you know, quite sure. So I'm going to put glue on there, and then we're going to bring this in, and obviously you've got that piece of backing card, so you're going to line it up top and bottom with the backing card, and then you're going to scooch it right up and next to this one here. And what I would do is, if you're using wet glue, you will need to just kind of hold it for a bit just to get it in the right place, because when you swish it off to the left, it might well decide to move. So if we get it so that it's pretty much dry first of all, and then when we know it's kind of pretty much dry, we can then just kind of fold it down and just give it a proper press down. Okay, so that's that one done. So I'm going to go for the one on the other side now. So the other little one, and again we can do the same again. So we're just going to put a bit of glue on this side here, because that's going to go there, and also on the back, because that's going to stick on the card that is behind. Right, so that's what you should end up with so far. So then we're going to take the outside ones. Now you'll probably notice that obviously you can't really glue on the pillar, because if you glue on the pillar you could get it all, you know, over the place. So the best thing to do is to put some glue here and some glue here, or red tape depending on what you're using. So we're going to put some glue on the side here, and I've deliberately done the two smaller pillars first and then I'm doing the bigger ones, just because it allows for the other ones to dry. So we're going to put glue there, and then this time, instead of them being laid down to stick them on, we need to stand them up, because this is the same height as this. So we're going to stand the two up, and then we're just going to bring this in so it sticks on the back and it sticks on the side. And again, once you've got it so that it's level top and bottom and it's kind of stuck in the right place, you can go ahead and kind of lay it down, just kind of give it a bit of a press, and then once it's dry a bit more, I'm then going to shimmy everything off to the left to actually really press down on it and really get it in position. Right, so that's that one in place, and then we're going to do the same on this other side. So again, I'm going to put glue on the actual, you know, majority of the card rather than on the pillow itself. I'm going to put a bit of glue on here and also on this section here, and then we're going to bring the other pillow in, and again we just need to stand them up. So stand them up, make sure they're level, make sure you're doing it on a level table or surface, stick them together like that, and you really need to keep an eye in here, make sure there's no gaps. So really just make sure when you're sticking it you really don't have any gaps, because there was a little bit of a gap just came about then, so you do need to keep an eye on that. So then when you finish, you should end up with it all nicely stuck. I've got a bit of a gap at the back there, let me just seal that gap up. A little bit of a gap between this pillar and the back card, so you just need to keep an eye out for that, because when you squish it down sometimes it wants to kind of jump over the top of the one next to it and not be stuck properly. So you can kind of tweak it so that it's nice and, you know, it's not leaning, it's kind of level. And then we just need to go ahead and add a piece on the front. So this piece here, I've cut out a square of base card that is 3 by 3, and then the pattern is 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, and so that is just going to go on here like this. If you want to make a little mark halfway and halfway so you know it's definitely the points are in the right place, you can, or you can just eye it. I'm going to eye mine and hope for the best. So we're going to place that on like that, and then I'm just going to, the reason why I've turned it over is because I can see where the corners of my column are, the edges of my column are. And so then that just means that when I put my glue on, if you want to use foam pads or whatever you're going to use, I know where I need to put glue. So I know that those edges I don't want to put any glue on, or tape or whatever. And then I've just cut out a little happy birthday sentiment. This is the In Love Art Shop sentiment set. You can see I use it all the time. It's just so good. It's just such a nice set, and so I will put a link in the description for this. If you do go and use it, please make do go and order it. Please make sure to use my code iced images, all in one word, and that will get you 20% off, and it also helps support the channel as well. So I'm going to turn this over, and then we are going to put some silicone gel on the back, and then I'm going to stick this on in the center, It's not raised up massively, but just enough so that it's just sort of coming off. You can see it kind of pops a little bit more. And there you go, there you have your card. Now if you wanted to, you could put patterns on the sides, but I quite like it with it not. The other things were, if you want to, you could put some pattern on the inside if you want to. You've got space on the back to write, which is great. Obviously you can rub your little pencil marks out if you want to. But yeah, so there you go. That is my card for today. So I hope you liked it. Obviously it folds down and fits in an envelope for a 5x7 card. So if I bring this in, squish it down, you can see it's 7 inches long and it is 5 inches high. So it fits in an envelope, and that's how you fit it in. You just squish it all down to one side like that, and that's how it fits in the envelope. And it's relatively flat, depends on how chunky a card you use really. But yes, I hope you liked it. Make sure to go and check out In Love Arts. That's where I got the paper pad from, and also the sentiment die. And as I said, use iced images, which will get you 20% off, and it also helps the channel out. So because I get commission every time you buy something from In Love Arts. It doesn't cost you anymore, but it just means that I get, you know, a little bit of something in that, and it helps support the channel. So if you can do that, that'd be absolutely wonderful. So yeah, please like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a video, leave a comment down below, and I will see you next time. Bye!